Thank you, everybody. Very good evening. What a wonderful audience here. It's always, I've never been to Houston, but now I've been here many times, and Houston somehow is becoming like one of my favorite cities because some wonderful people live here who I love very much. So, as far as I must, as a coming from a country of Shastrarth, I must answer this question with all humbleness. You know, in a city of deaf and dumb, whoever speaks becomes controversial. I have not done anything unique, I have not said anything new. I come from a great land where some great minds have always understood the value of truth, which is why Indian democracy perhaps is the only democracy in the world which doesn't believe in God or Lord or Almighty. It believes in truth, and our motto is Satyamev Jayate. We are the only society in the world which has given birth to four most peaceful religions. Actually, not religions, but schools of thought. Hinduism, nowhere in the scriptures, because people don't read scriptures, people don't read Vedas and Upanishads. They think it is some glorified text, so they believe it is religion, but they don't, neither Upanishad nor Gita nor Vedas, nobody talks about religion. They are highest form of philosophies. If you read them deeply, if you read Vedanta, you'll understand that they don't even care about God and all these kind of things because they say you are the God. Entire Gita is based on the theory of causation, which 2,000-3,000 years later was discovered by the modern scientists. Buddhism is a specialization, it's a specialized branch of Hinduism. And Buddhism developed after 1,000 years of constant debate between the greatest of the minds. Jainism is also distilled thought process of Hinduism. If Buddhism says there is no soul, can you believe it? And similarly, Sikhism also came after many years of constant debate. So I come from a country which has created four greatest and the most evolved, most peaceful schools of thought which find Buddha said there is no God. But then stupid people made him a God. Guru Nanak said the same thing, stupid people made him a God. Buddha and Mahavir, they were born almost at the same time. If you see, some great minds were born 2,000 years ago, including Jesus Christ. Greatest of the philosophers were born in that period. That was the golden age of civilization. But then the most stupid people were also born at the same time. That's why they poisoned Socrates. Mahavir was not accepted while he was alive. Buddha was not accepted while he was alive. People don't know that perhaps. All these people said there is no God. You are the God. What is Jainism? Jainism believes in Anekantvad, which is a Hindu philosophy, which means there are a million ways to reach God. Denying any way is violence. Accepting all of them is non-violence. But non-violence we have now trivialized it, made it so small in its scope of thinking that not killing an animal or human being is considered as non-violence. This guy is non-violent. Why? Because he doesn't kill anyone. But you are taught in the universities to deny every other thought except for the one they believe in. Modern politics is also the same thing. Denying every other way to truth. All modern religions also believe in the same thing except for Hinduism, if it is a religion. Everybody is busy in denying everybody else's path to truth. That is real terrorism. The birth of terrorism comes from this. Everybody points finger at that madrasa where 5-year-old child is being brainwashed to become a suicide bomber. Isn't it? Everybody is talking about radicalization of uneducated people. New York Times, I was reading, one of the most enlightened newspaper in the world, where I think the most wise people, all the greatest wise minds work over there. There was an article. And they were saying terrorism is increasing in the world because of lack of education. Right? Now look at the educated people. Look at our universities. In the same universities, today you are taught not to discuss this radicalization. Isn't it? Same New York Times on 9/11, when they write about the destruction of Twin Towers, World Trade Center, they said 2 planes crashed into towers as if planes were flying on their own. Nobody was flying those planes. All these trucks today who ramp into shops and people walking on the footpaths, they never write who was driving that. They say a truck rampaged into innocent people. You are not allowed to call a criminal by its name. If you do that, you are cancelled. If you do that, you are called Islamophobic or some phobic or whatever phobic. The problem is that these people are silencing you with guns, and they are silencing you with their education. Why I am saying this? The point I am trying to make is that physical terrorism can be dealt only with guns. You can't fight terrorists. Anybody who tells you let's fight terrorists is actually either a politician or naive or an idiot. How can you fight terrorists who are coming with AK-47s? Today people say, why Kashmiri Pandits didn't fight? A lot of people, when I make this film, in question answer session, they say, but why didn't Kashmiri Pandits fight these terrorists? I say, if one person walks in right now with a gun, what will you do? Everybody will run away. You can't. That is not cowardice. Cowardice is when your own child is being brainwashed in some of the top universities. Cowardice is when you read these top newspapers and you know very well that they are lying to you. When you know very well that they are hiding the truth from you. Cowardice is when you know some intellectuals are denying your truth, which is the real violence, and not doing anything about it. Cowardice is when you have some power and not using it for justice. This film is not made because I wanted to make it. This film had to be made. Its time had come. I just became the medium. It's a series of coincidences. It's a series of divine intervention. In 2018, when I was here, Anandji and Ashishji, they said, would you like to meet? There is a doctor, Dr. Kaul, who wants to make some documentary or wants to invest in something which on Kashmiri Pandit issue. I was here for different purpose. They called him. It was a coincidence. He was just going past and he came in 10-15 minutes. I wouldn't have met him otherwise. And he asked me that why don't we make some film on Kashmiri Pandit issue. At that time I was not interested. That's a different story, but where I'm leading you to is a different thing. I don't know what happened. One thing I realized, that all the times we say nationalism, 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 we talk about patriotism, by whichever name you want to call it. You remember your own country, you want to do good for the society, even I want to do good for the society. But we never actualize our power. God has gifted every single human being with some strength, some power, which can change the world. World means your immediate world, whatever is within that circle of influence. Everybody has that power. But our modern education has dumbed us down to believe that you have no power, and the only power lies with these people sitting at the top of hierarchy of politics or media or something. And that's what I want you to become aware of. And that's when I realized that all these soldiers who fight on the border against enemies or terrorists or the evil people or whatever, they have guns, and we say that they are the soldiers who are nationalist, and we celebrate them. But I also make movies. Why can't I become a creative soldier? Why can't I also use the power of cinema, which I believe is the most powerful artistic expression? Why can't I use it to tell the truth to the world and help find justice for our own brothers and sisters? And that's how this film evolved. This was the main reason behind the film. And that's why our tour is also called Right to Justice Tour. That's why the film's tagline is also Right to Justice. No corporate company or studio would want to have something like Right to Justice. But we insisted that it should be there. Now, what is your power? What can you do? I have made the film. What can you do? Of course, you can forward lots of messages on WhatsApp after seeing the film on the 30th. You can write all those things. But you have to realize that today, the world, if people say it's polarized, it's actually polarized. It's polarized between people who are using that power to dumb down the society. Dumb down the society to a level where you forget what is truth, where you forget what is justice, and you just lead a life of consume, work, consume, work, consume, work. This is the kind of world we are living in. First, colonizers, invaders, imperialists. When colonizers were colonizing different societies, people didn't know it was a bad thing. Do you know that? If you have read history, you would know people used to celebrate colonization. Today we are celebrating globalization. 100 years later, you will realize you have no culture left. And what is globalization doing in a country like India? If all the modern science, what it's discovering, all the modern sociologists, philosophers, whatever they are discovering, you will find all this knowledge is with us. And that's why we are called a knowledge center. And when you will see the film, you will realize that what was the knowledge center of India? The knowledge center of India was Kashmir. All of you know about yoga. Where is it coming from? Can anybody tell me where is it coming from? Which part of India it was invented? Himalayas is left to right. Which part of Himalaya? Ayurveda? Good. Panchtantra? Good. Shiva? Shaivism. Saraswati? Music? Trigonometry? Astronomy? Hydraulic science? Grammar to the world, not Indian grammar to the world. Panini? Kashmir. The greatest poet ever born on this earth, not according to me, according to Shakespeare, who the world believes is the greatest poet. Where? Which part of India? Huh? Shankaracharya, Advaita, the entire philosophy, Indian philosophy of non-duality. Where? And what are you taught? That Kashi is where Hinduism, the seat of Hinduism. Isn't it? This is the problem. We don't know ourselves. And that's why we are not strong. How will you fight if you don't know your own identity? If you don't know what is your real talent and what is the source of that, how will you fight injustice? And which is why I realized it, when we went to shoot Tashkent files in Uzbekistan. मुझे control कर देना, जब time खत्म हो बोल देना, I'll stop. Don't worry. Please raise your hand. But it's important. We went to Uzbekistan to shoot Tashkent files. And we were taken to one place. Samarkand. Huh? Samarkand. क्या नाम था उसका? Taimur, I mean not a film star's son, the real Taimur. The real Taimur. We went to his grave and there's a big mosque or something over there. And there was a tombstone, there was a lot of grass, and I found that, what was written over there? That he refused to call himself an emperor. And he said, their own people, they wanted to call him an emperor. He said, no, I will call myself an emperor only when I rule the knowledge center of the world. And he traveled from Uzbekistan, from Samarkand, and he destroyed, while coming to Delhi, he destroyed all the villages, he burnt all the villages, coming from Kashmir to Haryana to Delhi. In one night, he killed 100,000 people. 100,000 people. You have never thought about this. I went to shoot in Nalanda. Such a beautiful piece of architecture. You go there and the vibes, whenever you go to India, please take your children to Nalanda. India had 10, 11 universities. Sharda Vidyapeeth was the apex university in Kashmir, which is not in India anymore. It is not there. People don't even know about it. You know about only Nalanda. But Nalanda, people say it was burning for 6 months. So forget 6 months or 4 months or 3 months. But it's really, really so huge that it's beyond comprehension. But we don't know about it. We don't even know that the first 11 topmost universities of the world, in the history of humanity, were in India. Today you talk about the greatest universities are in USA. The greatest universities were in India, but they were burned by invaders. And we don't even know about it. Because we are taught not to know about our strengths, but we are taught to know about our weaknesses. We are playing our game on the back foot. The world should be guilty of destroying this knowledge center called India, but we are made to feel guilty. And which is why you see, whenever we meet our enemies, which are the colonizers, we always treat them as if they are the masters and we are the servants. I want to change that. It's not that I can change it, but we are trying to change it. I am playing from my strength. I believe India is still the knowledge center of the world. I believe India is the value center of the world. I believe India is the future of the world. India not as a geographic region, but India with its DNA of knowledge and philosophy. And which is why I am making all these films which he asked me. These are not controversial films. These are truthful films. I have written 2 books after making these 2 films. Both the books start with my search seeking truth, and both the books end on Satyamev Jayate. The reason is because we started them as lone journey. We were the only ones. The entire world, our fellow people, were against that. They said, no, who knows about Lal Bahadur Shastri? Who's going to watch this film? Who wants to watch a film which has only dialogue? Everybody rejected. They said it's such a verbose film. No song, no comedy, no action, no star, no heroine. 9 old, ugly people sitting in one room just talking about a 4-5 feet a man. Who's going to watch this film? And for the same verbose film, we got the Best Screenplay and Dialogue Award. For the same film, Pallavi got the Best Actor Award. When I made Buddha in a Traffic Jam, people said we live in a country where people touch feet of a teacher before they touch feet of God and their parents. Who's going to believe that teachers are the evil people? Or they are Naxals, or they are communists, or whatever. For 6 years, that film was stuck. Nobody allowed it to release. I went university to university and it became a cult film. It became so true that today everybody uses the word urban Naxal, and that day is not far off, and in America also they are going to use this word. And in the end, I just want to tell you, this started Kashmir Files as a lone journey. Surinder Kaulji and I met, then Pallavi joined. We started. Everybody said, you won't be able to finish this film. Finally, a fatwa was issued on our name. It is already in existence. The entire ecosystem of Bollywood, of politics, of universities, of media is against us. Everybody said, you will never be able to release this film. We have done 12 shows, Surendarji. How many? 12 shows.
12 finished yesterday.
We finished 12th show yesterday. Tomorrow we are going to do it in LA. On 26th January, this film is releasing. And the reason I am telling you all this is that one person can help change the world. All of you come from the greatest of the societies in the world. We are the only living civilization in the world. We are the only society which was ruled for 1,000 years by the minority. If tomorrow somebody tries to tell you about racism, communalism, all these kind of things in America, please tell them we are the only society which was ruled for 1,000 years by the minorities, looted, raped, destroyed. Despite that, when India found independence, we said all of them are going to have equal rights. This is the greatness of our country. So thank you very much for inviting me here.